Yeah, obviously, thought our guys, um, Tennessee State first half, we couldn't keep the ball in front. They just put their heads down and drove us, and we opened our hips and allowed them to get downhill. And talked before the game, the keys were going to be the bookends defensively, which is your beginning and your end, which is transition defense, defensive rebounding. But they beat us with loose balls. Hurt us some in trans, but primarily, the second big key was our point of attack defense, and that was that in the first half was really poor. But they're also really athletic and quick. I told our guys I thought going the game, this was the most athletic team we played, even including Alabama. They're big, they're fast. So we had to really move our feet, slide, did a poor job of that. And then offensively, I thought if we could take care of the ball, we could get what we wanted, as long as we were able to handle the basketball. But they do a great job. They're so disruptive. Again, their athleticism, how hard they play, they're very well coached. And we just, first half, we turned it over a ton as well. So a lot of times, I think we had 8 or 9 turnovers first half. So, our offense was their best offense in some cases. But I thought we settled down, got down 4, I think, in the second half, called a timeout, thought we stabilized. And then obviously some huge shots. Jabo in that stretch, they went on a 16-0 run. Jabo was, down 58-55. He was, stuck, I think, 2 or 3 threes in that stretch. Robbie, Julian getting fouled, did a good job. And then I thought our defense really fueled our offense. We were able to string together. I think we strung together 8 straight stops in a game where I think they had 58 points, first 51 possessions. We finished with less than a point, a possession from a defensive rating. So did a really good job closing the game off and then created that separation at the end. Obviously, if you watch the game, the score is going to look like it was much easier than it was. It was much more complicated than what the final score will indicate.
Questions, please.
Coach, you got off that slow start. I thought David came off the bench and provided just a huge spark. You mentioned the run, but also in the first half. Can you talk about what he brought just to the floor tonight all around for you?
Yeah, in the game, the one thing with Jabo is, you never got to worry about his toughness. Like in a game like this where it's kind of a slugfest, really physical, a lot of fouls, a lot of driving. You never got to worry about, him not, meeting the standard meeting. He's not gonna that's not gonna be too big for him. He's not gonna shrink in that moment. So, it was the right game for him. We talked in the locker room about that. He didn't get much opportunity against Ball State. Ryan was terrific tonight. Ryan wasn't at his best, but Jabo was terrific, and that's what really good teams do. Is they pick each other up when guys don't have it. You're not gonna have it. No one has it. Steph Curry, LeBron every single night. You're not gonna have your best A game every single night, and so on good teams, guys step up. But his shot making in the first half, stuck some big threes. I thought his first half nobody guarded anybody on our end. So I didn't think anybody was good defensively. But I thought in the second half he was much better defensively. He didn't get driven. Honestly, late we gave up 2 drives. And it wasn't neither one or him. So I thought he was terrific. Robbie and Jew were really good, but I thought Jabo was probably the best player, for us tonight, in the game. I really did. I thought Robbie and Jew were outstanding, but I thought Jabo was the key for us to win the game.
Did you see? Have you seen Julian Larry kind of turn a game like that? 3 assists. He gets the wing pass to Bledson. He gets the pass to Robbie in transition. He gets the back-to-back layups. Then he gets the steal that leads to the run out for Jason Kent. Have you seen him kind of do like that before?
Yeah, he had stretches where Julian can touch the game in a lot of ways. The best players are able to impact and affect winning the most ways. That's usually, like what separates guys at this level. Some guys can do it in 1 or 2 ways. Julian, he's developing more and more, and he's playing with more confidence. I didn't, he wasn't, elite early, but you look at him, the force he played with, getting the line 17 times, driving, getting them in foul trouble, putting them in, he shot more free throws than their entire team. We knew going the game, their foul rate, is really, they get to the line a ton, the way they play, and they foul a ton, is the way they play. So we knew that we had to play without fouling and try to make them finish over us, and that if we drove it, we could, certainly draw fouls. And he did a great job of getting downhill, putting pressure on them. But, you know, the passes he made a couple great, you know, skip to Jabo for 3, the layup inside. You know, his feel has gotten so much better. You know, he's always had incredible quickness. You know, he had that, you know, that's, you know, blessing from above. But where he's gotten better at is learning how to stop. You know, Julian's first year, he would play at 100 miles an hour, but it's like trying to read billboards while you're driving 100 miles an hour. You know, he couldn't finish or make reads because he was going so fast that the game he couldn't stop. And the best players are elite at stopping. And he's learned how to stop, play off 2, gather himself, to see the floor, to push with poise and the things we talk about. And he's done a great job. But he's as, you know, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but he's a guy with as high a work ethic, capacity for a work ethic as anybody I've been around. So he just continues to get better and better and better. And he will. It's not like he's close to, you know, scratching the surface. I think when we got here, he was a great athlete playing basketball. He's in himself, because it's really his credit, it's not my credit or anybody's credit but his. He turned himself into a basketball player who is a great athlete. There's a big difference in a guy who's just a great athlete playing basketball versus a guy who's a basketball player that is a great athlete.
Coach, a year ago, you played a trap game in Northern Illinois, got you. This was the ultimate trap game, 9 straight, with Michigan State looming and time off. The guy said it was mentioned, you know, this could be a possible trap game. Are you, even though you struggled at times, like, happy with the way they responded tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've only had 2 of these games, and we had the masterpiece that was Oakland City my first year. That was a really fun game for all involved, and then Northern Illinois. So we've played some of our worst games going into break. It's a hard game on people mentally. You know, I think you see a lot of funky scores this time of year. I know there's a case of like, oh man, this is a bad time to go on break. Yeah, momentum, we won 10 in a row. I actually think it's a great time to go on break. Guys need a chance to rest and reset. We've been going at it for a long time, you know, so the chance to get back, recharge their batteries, fill their cups, you know, is needed. But I thought, you know, we knew Tennessee State was good. I mean, you know, I watched their game with Liberty. It was a tight game. It was similar to our game. I mean, it was tight. Inside the final 10 minutes, Liberty's a really good team, you know, that'll you know, pick to win come Jose. We knew that Tennessee State was a good basketball team. It wasn't a question of that. But I did like the way that, and this is a hallmark of really good teams, but it's been a hallmark of this team is, you know, in the moments of truth, we seem to play our best basketball. You know, it's kind of like, you're a tennis guy, Rick, you know, like you can lose in tennis more points than the opponent, but if you convert break points and things like that, you win the match, right? Even though you might have won less points than the opponent. There's something in these moments of truth in games where you got to be able to make a play, get a stop, hit a shot. And these guys in moments of truth, saw it with Ball State, we saw it tonight, you know, have the ability to kind of, when it is crunch time, money time, you know, make the shot, make the play, get the stop, get the rebound, you know, and it's been across the board with this team. You know, tonight it was Jabo, you know, Swope and Robbie and other guys, you know, last game Ryan, obviously. But you go back to all these games, and so these guys have been terrific at figuring out how to close and finish. And so, far from perfect, you know, like I told them, we're 11-1. We've won 10 in a row. We're very proud. We would have signed up for that, you know, with our schedule. If you had told me that before the season, that you get a break 11-1 with what we've played, playing 5 games in the Holman Center, and who we played and where we played. And so we're really proud of what we've done, and we've done a lot, but we haven't accomplished anything yet, you know, and the lion's share of the work, you know, will be waiting for us when we come back on the 26th, and, you know, that starts a gauntlet of at Michigan State, you know, home against a 2-loss Evansville team, on the road against Northern Iowa, on the road against Drake, back home Belmont, Missouri State, at Illinois, Chicago. So, I mean, you know, there is no, the lion's share of the work will be waiting for us when we get this break. But right now, my mind's in Miami and headed down for some good food, a lot of wine, and thaw out for a few days, and then come back to 26, and we'll be. I know the guys are, and I'll be, you know, be ready to roll.
I know it's going to be kind of clunky working new guys into the rotation, especially like almost here, our third of the year. But number 11's out there. What's it like seeing him out there?
I'm thrilled for him, man. That kid was, you know, he's chomping bit to play. You know, I think, you know, he's much better than he's playing, but it's hard to explain. He's been practicing with us, but since the middle end of October, he's only been on the scout team because he wasn't playing, he couldn't play, so he hasn't done any Indiana State reps in 2 months, and so every rep has been something else, and he's pressing and he's trying to he's going to be a big piece for us. He's going to be a big piece for us, and the rotation day, I just like I said, going to halftime, I felt like and Jake was unbelievable against Ball State. I thought his defense changed the game. This game, he wasn't as good. We weren't guarding anybody, so at that point, I felt like, all right, if nobody's defending, then let's put a team out there that can, score enough to win, because we're not getting any stops. There was nobody off the bench or anybody else that was, guarding with the flip. So we're gonna go with that group. But Aaron's gonna be really good for us. He raises the ceiling for this team, and I think you'll start seeing who he is here probably middle of January, end of January, and certainly when it gets to when it matters most, elimination time. I think the full scope of his impact will be on this team, and it will be a much better team when he's playing at the level I know he's capable of playing at. And that's my job to, develop the depth and get it where it needs to be, and so I gotta continue to work in that capacity, and we will. But it's a process. It's a process, and we'll get back to it on the 26th.
Can I ask, you mentioned gauntlet ahead, and everybody's been waiting for this Michigan State game. You can talk about it now. Next up, it's a major chance. Everybody's talking about the Sycamores. Golden opportunity for you guys. How much are you relishing this, and the guys relishing this opportunity?
I was relishing it a lot more before I saw them up 30 at halftime on Baylor, and then I was relishing it less. No, it is a great opportunity for us. Obviously, the storylines and the history, and everybody knows, what that aspect is. But just for this team this year, to have a chance to go up to play in